guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've been using iOS 13.5 public beta 2 for about 4 days now from the time I did the initial update video, and this means that I'm in a better position to tell you what's good, what's bad, and what needs to be improved further. So I do public beta testing because I feel like if anyone wants to get the public beta version of iOS before they are released, they can be able to do that. And if you'd like to see a video on how you can get this public beta versions of iOS, let me know, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel for that. So this is my experience that I've had with iOS 13.5 public beta 2 on the iPhone X. The first thing that I would like to mention is that I was having an issue before with the camera app. It would black out whenever I open the camera app, but as you can see this time around, the app is working just fine and I haven't had any blackout screen so far, and hopefully that means that the camera app issue has been fixed now. Now, the second thing that I would like to mention with this iOS 13.5 public beta 2 is that I was having a battery temperature that would shoot up. It was so rapid, with just minimum usage. And I'm happy to say that as far as I know and have tested and experienced on this iPhone X, my temperature did come back to normal. It only heats up when doing heavy duty stuff, like when you are gaming on your phone and your device is also connected to the power source, so that's when it heats up, and that's normal. And also when I run Antutu, because Antutu is a demanding app, that's when it only heats up, and that is normal and it's bound to happen. So my temperature on the iPhone X seems to have returned back to normal. As far as device temperature and battery temperature of iPhone is concerned, the only iPhone that I know has been having heating issues is the iPhone XR. It's still heating up regardless of the version, and with users that have updated to 13.5 are still reporting that their device is still heating up. Also worth mentioning is that the iPhone 8, the battery isn't performing so well, the screen on time is so low, and also on the new iPhone SE 2020 that just been released, the battery life is actually not that great on that device as far as this software is concerned. So if you have those devices, expect lower battery performance. Now, as far as my battery health and battery performance is concerned, if we go into the settings and then go to the battery section right there, we can see that my battery health is still on 88%. Now, before the update, it was on 88 and it continues to be on 88. And then if we're to look at my screen on time, if we look at this day here, we can see that, yeah, I've been getting an average of about 11 hours and 27 minutes and 1 hour 38 minutes of time, and this is using slightly just above 90% of the battery. So that means that my battery performance has improved a little bit from the last update, and most of the credit generally goes to the fact that my device is not heating up so much. So as you can see on the iPhone X, the battery performance has been a bit better. Now, as far as CPU and GPU performance is concerned, I did run Geekbench 5 scores, and the scores that I got were quite okay. If we were to look at the history for the CPU performance, I got a score of 920 for single core, and for multi-core I got a score of 2469. Now, if we were to look at the average scores for the iPhone X for single core, we can see that yes, the average for the iPhone X is 918 and I have 920, which is slightly above the average, and that means my single core performance is better. But what we care about most and what has significant effect is the multi-core. So if we see the multi-core performance there, we can see that my score is 2469 and the average for the iPhone X is 2370. So this means that both on single core and multi-core I'm performing slightly above average for the iPhone X. This is good and just goes to mean that performance is slightly better from the previous version on the iPhone X, and this is also the same issue on the newer iPhones, as the 11 Pro Max users have also been reporting better scores. However, when it comes to Antutu, I do have Antutu here. Let me just show you Antutu, this app. So I did run score with Antutu and it didn't really score a high number. I scored a score that is way below average. I scored 224064, and if we're to see the rankings for different devices, the best performing device at the moment is the new iPad Pro, of course, because it has the most powerful chip. But if we're to see the performance of the iPhone X on Antutu, it has 311,256. So you can see that, my score is like a quarter behind average performance according to Antutu, but then I do trust these Geekbench scores more instead of Antutu. So performance wise, I'm happy with what I'm getting, and I really didn't see an issue with either the CPU or the GPU or the graphics rendering. Now with this iOS 13.5 update, we saw basically 3 new features that came with this update, and the first one has to do with FaceTime that we have right here. So if you were to go into the settings and then go to FaceTime, you can see that you now have the option to turn off prominence for whoever is speaking. This was kind of annoying because if you were on a group FaceTime call and then different people speak at the same time, it would sort of struggle to highlight an individual and it would scramble around. But now it's good that you can turn it off automatically so that you continue to have the grid square and not have the person speaking highlighted. And the second new feature that came with this update has to do with COVID-19 exposure. So if we're to go into the settings and then go to privacy, which is right here, and then go to this health section, we can see that we have COVID-19 exposure notification. Now this is not yet an app, it's still an API that came with this update. So if you came into contact with someone who had been exposed to COVID-19 in the last 14 days, the app would basically notify you so that you can take corrective measures, whether it's getting tested or so on. But this is still an API and the app hasn't yet arrived, and it's important to mention that if you keep this setting on, your details remain anonymous, so you won't know the name of the person that you came into contact with that had COVID-19 and so on. So this is something that Apple is looking forward to launching, and also it's working hand in hand with Google. So yeah, it's another new feature that came with this update. And the next thing that improved with iOS 13.5 has to basically do with Face ID unlocking. We now have faster Face ID unlocking times on iOS 13.5, unlike iOS 13.4. I did do a whole video dedicated to that where I ran a Face ID unlocking test on the iPhone X, and it was versing the iPhone 11 Pro Max running iOS 13.4. It's an interesting one, and make sure you check it out. It's still live on the channel. Now, in terms of what needs to be improved or the bugs and issues that are existing with this software, I am having issues with my Wi-Fi connection, and it's interesting because I really didn't see a modem firmware update with iOS 13.5. However, my Wi-Fi connection lately has been slow. In some of the application I'm losing connection. I don't know why, but the previous version was okay, and now on 13.5 I have weak Wi-Fi signal and my cell connection is okay. It's just the Wi-Fi section. The mail app seems to be okay. I did confirm that I have one unread email in the mail app. However, I should also mention that I haven't been getting a lot of emails since it's the weekend. We'll see whether it maintains its accuracy during the weekdays as I get more emails. Another issue that's affecting iOS 13.5 has to do with the settings app. Now, I haven't experienced that on this iPhone X, and some iPhone 11 Pro users are basically reporting that, with iOS 13.5, they are experiencing lockouts and jitter delay when it comes to responsiveness within the settings app. Sometimes it's unresponsive and sometimes it just locks out, irregardless of, whether you close it and open it up again. So that's something that's affecting newer devices and not iPhone X and older devices. Also, the text bug issue that recently went viral hasn't yet been addressed across all devices, and it seems like it's something that's going to be addressed with the next update. And I have to mention that with Facebook, sometimes my volume doesn't show up. You see how when you press your volume key, you get this basically pop-up that comes on the side, and within Facebook basically it hasn't been working well for me, especially when I view statuses or something like that. So across Instagram and YouTube it's working well, but on Facebook it's not really that stable. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, and that's something worth mentioning. Now, with regards to when we see the next update, I expect it either at the 8th of May or 15th of May. Now keep in mind that lately Apple has been unpredictable. They have been releasing different versions and at different times, so this may change. Anyways, that's about it for me when it comes to the follow-up of iOS 13.5. This is the public beta 2 testing that I am doing on the iPhone X. I will let you know if I find any new issues in the description of this video. In the meantime, stay safe, and if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and stay safe, keep your distance, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Peace.